Hi everyone, and welcome back to Learning Media Skills, and today we're going to be taking a look at DaVinci Resolve and some of the new features in Studio 18.5. This is a public beta release that just came out a few days ago. I actually spent the last few days in Las Vegas, Nevada at the NAB convention, and I was delighted to see that Blackmagic actually had the largest booth. At least I believe it is. I visited most of the floors, and Blackmagic had the largest space in the whole convention, and they were showing off not only some of their cameras, but also DaVinci Resolve. It's become such a popular program that a lot of people are migrating over to it. And I was able to sit in on a number of demonstrations where people were showing off some of the new features. And I have to say 18.5 is just an amazing upgrade to the program. It's got a lot of wonderful new features, some of them coming from AI technology that is going to automate a lot of the tedious work of video editing. And I just want to show you a couple of those features today. We're going to look at closed captioning, subtitling, and audio transcribing. Let's get started. I've got a project here that I'm working on that I think will demonstrate those new features quite well. Now, in order for you to try some of these features on your computer, you will have to download the beta version of 8.5 Studio. But let's take a look at some of them. They're amazing. First of all, I want to show you transcribe. I don't know how many times you have worked on a large format program where you might have maybe 9 hours of interviews, and a lot of editors will send those out for a professional transcriber, and it can cost hundreds of dollars to get that back, because it really does save a lot of time if you can just look at the text and kind of do a text edit before you sit down. It makes it a lot easier than scrubbing through 9 hours of footage. Well, DaVinci has automated that whole process. Let's go to our timelines bin and just right click on the project itself, go down to the bottom and say transcribe audio. And it's going to start that process. This clip is about 20 minutes long, and you can see how fast it is transcribing it. All right, that's just finishing up now, and we have our audio fully transcribed. And not only do I have the text, I'm now able to edit with the text. Let's take a look at that. I think she has a false start here, so we could just highlight this whole area here. And you can see as we highlight that text, it's set an in and out point on our timeline as well. And now we can do a couple of things with this selection. We could make a subclip of that, give it a name, and that would just take that section and make a subclip out of it. So that's always nice and handy. You could make a number of subclips that you could later edit together from your transcript. But for today, what we just want to do is get rid of this portion because it was a false start. And so now that we have it selected, we can just hit the keyboard shortcut of Command X on the Mac. We've just deleted that portion and it's no longer there. And we could go through all of the text, and as we're reading it, we find a place where she makes a mistake. We can just highlight that and do the same thing. Let's see if we can find another example. Here we have another section where we're debating about lighting and different things, so we can just highlight that whole area, and you can see again it selects the area in the middle. And now I can just use my keyboard shortcuts for when I want to do a ripple delete, and it's taken that out and brought the two clips down together. All right, so you can see how that can be helpful, not only to prepare your edit, but assist you when you're doing your edit. Let's take a look now at doing some subtitles and closed captioning. Let's do an in and out of the whole section there. And once we've got that selected, let's go up to Timeline and find an option there in the drop-down menu called Create Subtitles from Audio. And you've got some options there that you can choose from. Let's just go ahead and use the defaults and create some subtitles. And this is a process, and the speed of it will be dependent upon the speed of your processor. somewhat, but it is relatively fast. If you've ever had to create subtitles manually, you will know just how much time this feature is going to save you. If you're kind of new to editing, you should know that there is a difference between subtitles and closed captioning. But this process of creating subtitles can be easily transformed into closed captioning as well. Closed captioning is something that is hidden from view unless you activate it, either with a mouse selection if you're on a computer, or a remote control if you're on a TV. And if you press closed captioning, then the subtitles appear. If you are just adding subtitles, when you go to export the video, those subtitles are going to be burned in, or we could say baked in. And everybody who watches that video is going to see the subtitles. Not everybody likes subtitles. Some people find that it takes away from the experience of watching the video. And so it's good to give people options. All television stations today require it, and so if you're exporting for television, you're going to need to supply closed captioning. They probably won't like it if you have subtitles, but there are certain circumstances where it's just better to have subtitles up. I do a lot of international documentary work, and so if we are interviewing somebody that has kind of a strong or heavy accent while they are talking, we find that it's good to have subtitles up so that everybody can read what they're saying and not miss any of the words because of a heavy or strong accent. So there's pros and cons of subtitles, sometimes where it works and sometimes where it doesn't. But it sure is nice to be able to generate those within a few seconds. Now, on this white background, some of this is difficult to read, but you can select that whole area there and go over to your inspector. You'll see all of the subtitles showing up here where you can go in and edit. If the computer didn't get somebody's name spelled right, for example, or if it didn't quite catch what the person was saying, you can go in and correct it there. But also we can add a little black background to this. And so let's go over to track and add a background. And now that's still a little bit difficult to read. Let's add some opacity, or opaqueness, I guess we should say, to that so people will be able to read that better.
The Turkey and Syria earthquake, Iman and her plight from war and conflict, or Pauline's struggle with a husband who left and 5 children to provide for.
So you can see how much time that is going to actually save you. Now, for the most part, the closed captioning does a great job of transcribing English, but there's going to be cases where you're going to need to clean it up a little bit. For example, here when she talks about ADRA, well, that's the name of an organization, and that should be all caps. So it's just a matter then of clicking on that and going back to caption and going in and editing that. And let's see if there's any more examples of that.
Have a sustainable hairdressing business until the earthquake took everything from them. And as they were taken to a shelter at Hayat School by an...
Now, Hayat School's probably not spelled right. I'd have to actually check the original story to see the correct spelling on that. But you can see how there are certain circumstances, especially with the spelling of foreign names, is going to require some scrutiny. But the overall amount of time that this saves you is amazing. Now, after you have all of the subtitles cleaned up and you're ready to export, let's show you how to do that. You'd probably want to offer your client 3 versions of a video like this. One where you have the subtitles showing on the screen like this. A second version where there's no subtitles in case they want to upload it clean without any subtitles burned in, and then a third option where it's closed captioning and is only accessed when people choose to see it. All right, and where we can do that is over in the export page, the little rocket ship. Let's go down there, click on that. And now, because we have a subtitle track, we also have some subtitle settings in our export options. And so let's open that up. And here you have 3 options. Let's take a look at them. The first one is as a separate file, and what this would give you is just a text file that you can import to, say, Vimeo or YouTube as a file to replace the subtitles that or the closed captioning that they automatically generate. Because you've gone in and cleaned up the names of people and a few other things that you might find, your subtitles or closed captioning are going to be better than what YouTube and Vimeo generate automatically. And so that's something to keep in mind. You can export just the text file to upload. Or you can choose to embed the captions. Now, it's interesting to me that Blackmagic has chose to call all of these subtitles rather than make a differentiation between subtitles and closed captioning. Perhaps they feel that there's a lot of people that will use their software that may not know the difference between subtitles and closed captioning, and they decided just to call them all subtitles. I'm not sure. But when you want just closed captioning, this would be your choice as an embedded caption. Or you can decide to burn it right into the video. What we were talking about earlier, you're burning it, or you're baking it right into the video, and everybody will have to see them. You can't shut it off. It's in there forever. And so you have the options. If you decide to do an embedded caption, and this choice would be mostly for when you want to upload to a broadcast facility where you'd have an embedded caption, if you have that option, you'll want to check with your broadcast facility to determine what kind of closed captioning they prefer. And you're given the option between just a text file and CEA-608. And that's probably what your TV station will want. If you're wanting to upload to Vimeo or YouTube, and you can check with your streaming platform as to the type of file they like to import and select that. The web VTT is a format that both Vimeo and YouTube support. They have other options as well, so you might want to look into that. Well, that's what I wanted to show you today about 18.5 and how it is going to save me and you a lot of time when you are working with not only editing and getting audio transcribing, also when you are having to do subtitles and closed captioning. So long for today. We'll catch you next time here at Learning Media Skills. So long for now.